Hello, Michelle Visage.
Hi, RuPaul Andre Charles.
Well, you were just talking about your nail odyssey, which is quite amazing.
It's like it's its own show in itself.
Yeah, and we've got Melora Hardin is here. Hello, darling.
Hi, how are you guys?
Your skin is so gorgeous.
Oh, you're so kind.
What now? Is that Bare Essentials you have?
I do use the Bare Essentials.
Is that what you have on now?
Yes, the hydrating one.
You know what? I can always
powder.
tell that
Oh,
because
really?
it looks so good.
It has
got
a
a
little
glow.
Yeah, it has a little glow, and it doesn't dry your skin out.
How long have you been wearing it?
Ever since loose powder became the thing. Remember when everyone started wearing loose powder
Just
again?
buff and go.
Yeah, buff.
Buff, tap.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's right. Yeah. And I would use a lot of it, and it would dry my skin out and look clumpy and flat, like too matte and too So anyway,
and once you become a lady of a certain age, too, under the
it's
eye
nice to have
can
a little
become
glow,
a little crepey. And
No, exactly.
It's nice.
Which Bare Essentials is that? I just want to know.
Yes, it's the hydrating powder.
It's just
It's
their
the
if you go into
hydrating, Bare Essentials hydrating powder.
Is there a
Loose
number
powder.
or is
Nope, it's just called
for white women?
Well, they have
they have
medium.
them. They have for all different
They have
colors.
Actually, you know what? When
You
I,
use it.
I was at what's that mall in Pennsylvania?
But you know what? This is actually really see-through.
It is. It
It's
looks
actually
great.
just
Talk about
pretty
King of
see-through.
Prussia.
I think it could work. It could still work on you.
Yeah, there's the translucent.
Because it's sort of a translucent.
That's
it's
what I
just
was
that
gonna
it has
say.
a little bit of hydrating.
I was at the King of Prussia Mall about 3 weeks ago in
As one
Pennsylvania,
does.
as one does, and I bought some Bare Essentials,
The best.
and
Okay.
it was, I don't know if it was the hydrating one, but it was one for black folks.
Yeah.
Yes,
nice,
they have
yeah.
all colors on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And I'm quite familiar with it because I bought it from the first infomercial on down.
Oh
But
my
now
gosh,
they're freestanding
wow.
stores. They have really good
Yeah.
liquid highlighter for under the eyes. They
Right.
have good. You can even contour with some of their powders. They've come a long way, baby.
I love it. So now you were Michelle. You were talking about that. Melora cut her hair for transparent.
Right. So it goes back to Melora came on. She's been around for a long time performing.
Yeah. Before you say, we're going to cut to Murder, She Wrote real fast.
Okay. So all right. Do you want to do that first?
No, get that part out. But I want to get to Murder, She Wrote because that's really what I'm interested in.
Well, we were talking about hairstyles, and the evolution.
Yeah.
Evolution of my nails, evolution of her hairstyles. And we were talking about, I was obsessed with, and my youngest, her name's Lola, she's 14, obsessed with The Office, could not stop watching it over. She went to The Office in Parks and Rec. When I tell you, watch the entire series from beginning to end at least 10 times on a loop, the way you do with Murder, the way you do.
I love that.
So I became always known Melora, but obsessed with her as Jan on The Office because she's just this righteous bitch who is just so in control of who she was. And then when you came onto my screen, obviously
And then kind of unravels.
But it's amazing. But that's what we love, the journey of Jan in that
Right,
is
right.
to see this powerful woman become this where are you going?
Yes. Why? Why?
And then Transparent, where you're just this incredible, hardcore, probably dyke.
Butch lesbian. Yeah.
It was amazing. The transformation was amazing. I can imagine you as an actor, amazing. But we see you at first, and I'm like, damn, Melora's hot. Look at her with that short hair, and she's all butch. And I was like, yes. So we were talking about hair and how completely different that adds to a character and your whole personality.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was imperative for me. I'm kind of one of those kind of people, and I'm sure you can identify with this, Rue, but I'm like the kind of person who really, when I'm playing a character, I need to be able to walk into a restroom, look in a mirror, and be like, there she is. I have to be able to see her because it just, I'm kind of a little bit work the outside in. So very much my costume is incredibly important. And Marie Shelley and I had just developed this look for Tammy that was so hard to come by, really. We started with kind of butch female clothes and ended up that everything we put on me that was a butch female outfit, I still looked feminine. So we had to do all male clothes. I had to wear all men's clothes and have them tailored to me. And that just really helped. And then really flattened my bosom out and really, everything was really square so you didn't see the shape at all. And that just really was good because then I could, and then I'm a dancer. And so for me, it was really very much about getting into my body, the right shoes. The shoes had to feel good. I had to feel, because Jill Soloway, she wrote in the first episode, for the pilot episode, she sent me kind of some notes, and one of the things she said was Tammy has the biggest balls of anyone on the set. And that was just a great image for me. That was the thing that I really got into. And I think that's why so many straight women find Tammy so sexy, is because I've had so many straight women come up to me and be like,
just going to ask
I'm
you
totally
that.
straight, but I would totally have sex with Tammy, right? And then I've had lesbian women say, like, I know you're not gay, but wow, I would totally have sex with Tammy.
Yes.
You're nailing it, and that makes me feel really good, because I feel like they feel represented, and they feel represented in an honest way, and not like some kitschy, stereotypy way, but they feel like an honest representation. And then that both sides are kind of finding her hot is good, because she is hot. And so yeah, I think that's the key to her, is she's so clear. She's one of the only characters on Transparent who's really clear about her sexuality.
I agree.
I mean, she's
I
not
agree.
waffling. She's always known she's a lesbian. She's always been attracted to women. I bet she never even went out on a date with a man. You know what I mean? I think she just clearly knew it, I mean, and I just don't even think I can't even really see Tammy struggling that much with it.
Yeah.
Maybe with her parents, like coming out to
Right.
them, but I think in general, like her parents love her. They're like totally think she's the star child, and so I think yeah.
It was
Anyway.
honest. It's honest. It's authentic. And I was actually really uncomfortable with how attracted to her. I was like,
Really?
I was uncomfortable because it's Melora, and I know I was like, well, I don't. This is wrong. I don't want to feel that
Yeah.
way about. But it's that authentic.
Right.
And I know
Oh, that's
as an
great.
actor, you must have looked in the mirror and you could look and go, yeah, I'm hot.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no. I mean, we worked hard to, and I was very much like very no makeup, and like really, I wanted my eyelash. Jill and I even talked about this, and like eyelashes really blonde, and really, it was like really intense. The whole look was a whole collaborative experience.
Oh, it worked.
Yeah. Now,
So-
as an actor and as a human being, at what point in your process of being an actor are you able to say, I'm going to just let go?
Mhm.
Acting obviously allows a human being to open up these other places in their personality they've never been to. But where have you been able to say, "Oh my goodness, I think I'm crossing the line here"?
Well, I mean, I think that everything we were just talking about is really what sets you up to be able to let go. Because when you it's like you need those parameters, the parameters of the costume, the way that you look, the way that you are perceived by everyone on the set. Because when you walk out of your dressing room, you know if it's working or not, because all the lesbian producers are like, whoa, like they're like suddenly turned on by you.
Yeah.
And you just get that feeling. You can really feel that. So I think that's when you can really let go. I mean, for me, it's like when I'm on stage, when I do things in theater and I'm on stage, you have the proscenium of the stage. You know that when you step out there, there's the safety of that. It was very interesting because I'm doing an indie film right now called The Shoe, which is all about solitary confinement, and it's a very, very, very dark movie, but really trying to make a real important point about how really solitary confinement is actually torture. And my character is the darkest of the
Wow.
the whole thing. She's the prison guard, and I have a scar that runs down talk about the way we've transformed her. I mean, I'll show you a picture of her. She's pretty intense too, and a completely different thing. But so she's incredibly dark. And then we had the election, and that was a very dark moment for me. So it was interesting because I had like a friend say to me, I was, crying on the way to work the day after the election. And, and my friend said, well, you'll do some incredible work today. And I said to my friend, I said, that's actually not the case, because in order to do incredible work, to be able to sink like that, to let yourself go, to completely let all those things go, you can't be. And we were working in a prison. We were working in an abandoned prison. So there was all this terrible negative juju energy in the prison. I'm playing this incredibly dark character in this incredibly dark movie at this moment of darkness for me personally. And I swear I had to use every single iota of my skill set and professionalism to be able to get through the day. And I was not able to sink into anything about the day.
Because you felt distracted.
Because I wasn't safe. I wasn't feeling safe. And if I had really gone there, it would just be like, that is like crossing a line. And like I refer back to David Fincher talks about why he hired Runa Mari to do the girl with the dragon tattoo was because he had worked with her on Social Network and seen that she's a very grounded person. You certainly cannot hire someone who's out of their mind to play the girl from with the dragon tattoo.
Yeah.
You have to hire someone who's really grounded, who is going to show up with their feet on the ground and be able to go there and come back again.
Right.
Over and over again every time. Otherwise, you can't finish your film.
Right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they go there and they can't come back.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Have you ever done that where you've done a role where you were completely changed after doing that role forever?
I mean, I think every role changes you because you have to go and find the truth of that person. It always offends me, when people say that like Jan was a bitch, because that wasn't my experience of her. My experience of her,
she was cold. She wasn't a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't my experience of her either. But but that's okay. That everyone has their own perception.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm playing a character, I fall in love with my characters. Even this one that I'm playing right now. Like she's mean. I mean, she's mean.
The prison guard
really
one?
mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's the meanest character I've ever played.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did play a Nazi guard in a short film, so she was. They're both on par with each other. These two, but I also understand her reality. I can't play her if I don't understand her reality. I understand where she's coming from, and so yeah, I think every part changes you.
Yeah. You mentioned the election and that you felt, when you walked in, we talked about having to pick yourself up, but first allowing yourself to actually go there into the anger, into the darkness, but being able to pull yourself back. And one of the things I tell my kids all the time is, you can look, don't stare. But when do you know when to look away?
Yeah, and with this one, it's funny. I really didn't consider myself a political person really before this. I've always voted, and I've always voted Democratic because I just align more with the philosophies of the Democrats, and climate change and things like that, and
humanity, things like that.
Humanity, and like equality, and those things that we hold so dear.
Women's rights
and that's right. So yeah, I think that I've found that I'm kind of going in and out. I spent at least a day or two crying and then working and not crying and holding it together and then flooding into tears. But I'm in this moment now where I'm trying to figure out how to contribute because it is what it is. And I think it's good to express. I think it's good to march. I think it's good to say what you think. I'm thinking about doing this 1,000,000 woman march that they're going to do in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And, but I think it's also really important that we don't allow this divide that is so obviously evident to be the thing that we focus on. I think that we need to focus on so many Trump, we all know someone who voted for Trump now at this point, right? And so I feel that, and a lot of those people are nice people, good people, maybe not our best friends, but nice people, right? Okay, people,
fair enough.
not bad people. Yeah. And so I think it's been unfair of the media to portray all Trump supporters as like uneducated hicks. And so many Trump supporters say things like that they don't align with the sort of racist and, terrible things that have been said by Trump and by a lot of his supporters, and that there are hate crimes that are coming out, that the KKK is having a parade in celebration of his victory. I really believe that it is now the Trump supporters' job, because they all say they don't want to be aligned with a lot of these terrible things that are un-American and inhumane and would take us and will take us back more than 20 years. So I feel it is their job, since we have now a president-elect who's active on Twitter. I think they need to be really, really vocal, and they need to call him out, and they need to say, you must be stand up, and you must say that you will not accept any of these white supremacist movements, any anti-feminism movements, that you will not accept them feeling and celebrating your victory as a way of condoning their agenda.
And also Mike Pence's stance on anti-LGBT things and conversion therapy, et cetera.
Yeah.
He needs to open his mouth about that.
He does.
To, help the community feel secure,
Yeah.
because we don't.
No,
and
it's not
ironically, well, not ironically, but interestingly enough, you started this thing here by saying that you've never considered yourself political. Rue and I have always made it a point to stay away from being political, because it's, it's a dangerous, like religion, a really weird.
Well,
but now more than ever, it's important.
People need to speak up.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel, and I don't even, and this is why I'm saying, like, I think there needs to be a way that we need to find a way to come together. It's okay that we have ideologically different beliefs and that we have politically different beliefs. And I can't argue. I'm not like the brightest spark when it comes to like all the political issues, and you can always beat me. You can like have you can fight me, and I'll just be like, okay, well,
opinion's
whatever.
Still opinion, darling.
Whatever. Yeah. But what I can say is that is that I do think we can all speak from our hearts.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
That's what needs to be done
Which
right
is
now.
the most political thing you can do, is to follow your own heart. And I will say this, what the most heartbreaking thing about this is that there is a narrative that we as a people have abandoned. There's a narrative, a collective consciousness of we as Americans are moving forward to equality, to compassion and understanding of one another, and understanding of the human evolution on this planet. It feels like that philosophy that's been voted into office is the antithesis of that consciousness.
So antiquated.
It's antiquated, and but we all have friends who have voted for Trump, but you have to ask yourself, and humans are only motivated. They're by the subconscious. That's what motivates human beings. And what is the underlying motivation there? And from where I'm standing, it looks like it's racist, it's base, it's the lower self. It is the lower consciousness of the human experience. We all have it, but comes a point where we have to ask our higher self to step in and say, you know what? I'm not going to eat that cupcake because it's actually not good for me. If you have kids, if you allow your kids to order what they get to eat, they're going to order lots of candy, cupcakes and pizza. Yeah. But as the adult, as your higher self, that they need a nutritious meal that is actually going to sustain them throughout the rest of their lives.
Correct.
And it felt like the kids ordered crap.
Pizza and Skittles.
Yeah, and we're supposed to stand by and go, okay.
There's so much more in this conversation that we need to delve into.
Yeah.
We need to take a break.
We're going to take a quick break. We've got...
Because we got to get into this.
We've got to get it and into Melora on
that too.
Murder, She Wrote.
So much, yes.
Murder, She Wrote. Let's get to the real stuff.
I'm obsessed.
I love it.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by Casper.
Yes.
Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price. You can get $50 toward any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/Rue. Yes, honey, you got to use that offer code. What are you waiting for? Casper.com/RU. Get started today.
You won't regret it, neither will your body.
Hey, let's talk about Loot Crate.
I love a Loot Crate.
Really?
Yeah. Mostly because you're talking about me and you're talking about my husband most of all, but my kids as well, gamers. We are gamers in my family. I'm not too proud to say that we are. They have everything from pop culture items for less than $20 a month. So you could be like Adventure Time or Star Trek, Futurama, all things like that. But T-shirts, socks, figurines, all of that stuff. So if you're a hardcore gamer or you love your TV, cult classics, favorite franchises, all those names that you would maybe pay for at a store for a certain amount of money, you can be a subscriber to Loot Crate and get them delivered to your house.
Right. So they're themed. And in fact, for November,
which is magical.
Magical.
Yeah. So if you head to lootcrate.com/Rue and enter the code RU, you can save $3 on any new subscription today. If you're a gamer or a geek in any way, shape, or form like me, hand is raised.
Hey.
Go to Loot Crate now.
We are back with Melora Hardin. We were talking about the election and how heartbroken you were. And I guess the heartbreak really comes from this idea that we were moving to a place of evolution.
It's also, there's so many things swirling in my head that I just want to word vomit right now. So I'm trying to compartmentalize it. But it's also a sense of confusion. I was on a cruise ship with 200 queer entertainers and people when the news broke. And when I talk about a collective crumble, we're sitting there going, okay, we're going to do our best to try not fight this hate with negativity and try to find the light and realize we as a people, as our community, have to fight with love and not hate because it never gets anywhere. But it was a sense of...
But for a moment, you can feel angry. And you
confusion.
You can feel confused.
It was
and
like,
you can feel like, how?
My 14-year-old daughter was in tears, crying because thinking that this this is change. This is what the people need. And not only that, to see a woman take office is the most amazing and empowering thing for young girls.
It will happen.
100% it will happen.
But here's the thing. And I have a very wise person in my life who says he loves breakdowns because if you allow them to, they can precipitate breakthroughs.
Sure.
And I do think there is a lot to be said for this country has been, a little bit in like a holding pattern with this feeling of obviously frustration and feeling unseen and unheard that we were maybe a little bit blind to. Well, at least that's what everyone keeps saying. Mm-hmm. And so if that's really the case, and I guess it's clear that it is, then we're going to have to do some like major step up healing, like major stuff that's going to require fighting and crying and yelling and screaming and, like maybe we need to find our way back to real democracy.
Sure.
Somehow. And there was an article that
because
the New York Times...
democracy is when you've got Democrats and Republicans. Sure. You've got everybody, and maybe we need a third party in this country and maybe we need to get rid of the electoral college and maybe we need to like have more peaceful and civil conversation back and forth the aisle, like instead of just this I'm going to own the Congress and the Senate and I'm going to own it and take it back. And
that's what it is.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I personally voted for Hillary. And, when I watched her concession speech, what I mostly thought was, I wish she could have brought that person to the debates. I think she was so triggered by how incredibly inappropriate and,
you can't blame her.
And you can't blame her. But this is where we need to evolve to. We need to evolve to where we're not so clingy to this idea of winning, but we're really invested in telling the truth, expressing human vulnerability. Wouldn't it have been amazing if she had said, because let me reiterate again, I'm not a political person. I really don't know all the details. Mm-hmm. But let's say the whole email thing. Let's say she had something to say about that. Mm-hmm. Let's say she did say something about that. What if she did? Like even the whole Bill Clinton thing, if he had just said at that time, and that's none of your business. And that's between me and my wife. Next question.
I agree.
Why do we have to be this withholding country where we can't speak the truth and go, I made a mistake and I'm sorry I made that mistake. But here's the thing, guys. If I hadn't done that, it would have meant this.
Yeah.
And I weighed the two things and I decided this was the best choice and maybe I was wrong. Now looking back, I regret it. I can't change it, but here's still what I have to offer.
So much power in that.
Right? Isn't there power in that?
But that's supposing you're talking to rational people who are reasonable and who can weigh information. It's like the old thing where you never tell your lover or your husband or your boyfriend about your ex-lovers. On paper, it's like, I want full disclosure and talk about it. But humans do not act that way. Humans hold grudges and humans have a sub-story going on that they're a lot of times not even aware of.
Right.
Like women, I read something the other day that we had the myth of female solidarity in culture, and people thought that women would vote for Hillary.
Right. And they were the ones that checked out most on her.
Exactly.
Middle-aged white women.
Can you imagine?
Exactly.
Middle-aged white women.
Well, I think there's also
I have to say, and then there's that. I think there's a deep, ingrained sexism that even women are playing out. They're playing it out.
I can say it. Easiest way to say it is Stockholm Syndrome. And for me, you're in a relation. I'm going to tell you a very good, I'm going to make it short, but there's a family that I've been friends with for years. It's a mother, husband and wife and 3 kids. And they're all team Trump. And they were arguing with me in a good way, actually, not in a really disgusting way. And I, at the end of the story was like, all right, I'll agree to disagree and let's see where it goes. Because they were saying, well, it seems like your only concern is the LGBT. And I was like, absolutely not. That's what I'm super passionate about. But I'm talking about life. Sidebar, I read this article in 1922 about how Hitler really wasn't such a bad guy before he came to power. But I'm not kidding. That's how people, it's the charisma so high, they get caught up and go, it can't possibly happen. And they voted that in the same way we're voting it in. Okay.
Yes.
Now, look, Trump is not Hitler, but I'm just saying this is how it could happen easily. So my point is, these kids are just doing what their parents are saying in the house. I'm hoping that my daughters, I have 2 of them, and my husband and I set an example that they can choose for themselves. And they chose Hillary, and they were devastated, like crying tears. But the point is, Stockholm Syndrome, they only know what they know.
Right.
So these women
That's right.
aren't going to go against their husbands that make the money that they come home to.
And their dads.
You know what I mean?
And their dads. And their
correct.
moms.
And I grew up in a Republican household. And if it wasn't for me speaking my own, being so damn independent and belligerent and not listening to what they said, I could very much have done the same thing. You know?
Well,
free thinking goes out the window sometimes in a relationship and in a family.
Well, listen. There's policy, and then there's personalities. Listen, you know what? If your political policies are one thing, right on, you can have that.
Right.
But when you look in your heart and you say, "Who is this person?" You go, "That is a douchebag, and I don't want anything to do with that
how
person."
could you possibly look at that and go,
well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Vote.
That's the thing. I mean, and I heard so many people say, yeah, I don't like anything about him. I don't like anything about what he says or how he talks or, this or that or the other thing, but he's going to get shit done.
Oh,
no,
right.
but he's not.
And
Because
I'm
he's
like,
already backing
you don't even
down.
have any experience. How is he going to get shit done? I mean,
it's diplomacy. I mean, people have all said all of these things. I don't know where to go with. You know what? On Judge Judy,
his other favorite show.
every single there's a storyline that continues on and on. It's about a woman who is suing her lover for $2,000 that she lent him so that he, right after he got out of prison, so he could pay his back child support. Okay, the clues are all there.
But still
clues, she had a postcard picture of the nesting and a family. Like she was focused on, I want to get that picture. It's ingrained in our the psychology. It's men and women. We want certain things. And then she's so surprised that this man did not pay her back this money. It's like, madam, the clues were all there. And that's how I feel
Not
about
clues.
this.
The writing was
writing
on the wall.
right there
stamped
on the
on
wall.
the forehead.
Yeah. A lot of people don't get that because they're so focused on this picture postcard of how they want life to be.
They get it, baby. They're looking the other way. They get it. They know it. So these people that are doing this, they see it. They see that right there in red?
Mm-hmm.
I read it. But you know what? I'm going to look the other way. That's what I think it has more to do with instead of I think they're choosing to look the other way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a conscious move. It's a conscious decision for you to say, this guy is absolutely insane, but I'm going to vote for him anyway because my husband tells me to, or my father, or whatever. I'm not saying every woman is like that. Maybe some had their own opinion and felt strongly about it. And what I heard as the underlying thing, which makes me so upset, is that they want anything but what's been in there. So they're willing to vote for that because they think it's better than what's been in there.
Right.
I also heard a lot of people blaming Hillary for what Bill did.
Can you? My mother-in-law.
I heard a lot of people blaming her for that and blaming her and saying she should have left. And I was like, what? I said statistically, 98% of marriages do not fall apart because of adultery. Ladies and gentlemen, that's like,
why would
people,
you leave?
Why would you want a family to fall apart? Why wouldn't you want them to stay together and work it through? And I said, and by the way, how do we know they didn't already have a deal in place?
Which is what I
they
think.
were two consenting adults and they decided as a married couple, you do what you want and I'll do what I want and we will raise our daughter and we will have this political career together and we will love each other. And there are plenty of relationships out there that they make their own decisions.
Absolutely. The smartest people do. Because if you're around for long enough, you realize that picture postcard that everybody has in their mind, that is not feasible.
No.
When you're two smart people and you've got a dynamic energy force between you, where you put your pee-pee or where you put your mouth is not a big deal.
And by the way, it's nobody's business but their own.
Right.
Because that's what they wanted to. I don't believe in cheating. It's not my thing. I've been married for almost 20 years and I don't condone it. But if I had a relationship where that was okay, which I know a lot of people with open relationships, I don't judge it. It's fine. That's their thing. If it's their thing, let it be. They were two. Monica was a consulting adult. It wasn't like a rape case that our president-elect is going to be facing. This was two consensual adults. It's really insanity.
It is
what
insanity.
we're facing. It's lunacy.
Yeah.
It's lunacy.
Yeah, and I agree. People do blame her, and I absolutely think it's the most disgusting, ridiculous
sexist.
thing.
It's
Of course,
sexist. We're not quite ready and this whole trust thing, and it goes on and on and on and on, and it's, but my feeling is that, we have to be so protective of our vulnerable now. We have to be so wrap our children in our arms and say, and when they say, how could he possibly be, elected president when he did all these horrible things? And, my 15-year-old daughter said, he raped a girl. And I said, well, I don't know that that's been yet proven, but I know what you're saying. And my 11-year-old daughter is saying, and he calls people, terrible names, and he says terrible things. And he said that word, and he said, grab them by the, what? And, and I said, no, I hear, yes, you're right. Those are the things that he said. And I agree with you that it is absolutely indecent. And we have to, I don't know, we just have to, it's, what do you say as a parent? Like, yeah, I mean, these are all against every value that we have in our family, and would never in any way, do this or express this. By the way, like every guy any guy I've spoken to, the whole locker room talk situation is like, no, what they say. I was talking to the guy who's on this movie with me. He's like, no, what you say is like, yeah, like we did that. Like I hit that and she hit me back or whatever. You don't say, I get that because I'm famous and she has nothing to say about it. I mean, that is the definition of rape and sexual assault. That is the definition. I mean, that's what Bill Cosby got in so much trouble about. That is not locker room talk.
But did he get in trouble about it either?
Well,
we will see.
We're working on it.
But the other side of the coin on this is that it's possible that the universe, which I believe does not support that kind of behavior, is his being elected will accelerate the forward motion that we have set into play. We as human beings on this planet are moving forward.
Yeah.
That diagram of the gorilla,
evolution,
the evolution
Darwin,
thing.
Yes.
I feel that we are changing, and this may be the
catalyst.
The catalyst,
the straw that broke
really
the camel's back.
break
That's
it
right.
through.
Yes.
Because what we just voted in was the good old boy system that we all grew up with, and that we all felt appalled by, because it left out pretty much everybody.
Yeah, we thought we were over this.
Yeah.
This is 50 years ago.
Yeah. Well, white men were included.
Well, yeah. I was in a restaurant.
True.
Earlier, Melora, you were talking about the stages of grief that you had experienced. I was in a restaurant in San Francisco just this weekend, and I was looking around the restaurant thinking, which one of you bastards?
Yeah. Because we're still grieving. It's like we're mourning.
Which one of you did this? And I'm looking around. It's like.
Well, San Francisco, you don't have to
Yeah,
worry.
probably not.
I mean, you know what? We live in an incredible state.
Yes.
Thank God for California. Thank God for New York City.
Yeah.
Amen.
I mean, really, right? Like progressive and thoughtful and caring and kind and trying and doing it and making the effort and evolving and moving towards the future rather than back to the past. So thank God. And now we need to try to help those others along in a way that makes sense to them.
But can you? Because you've had girlfriends who are with a bad, someone who treats them terrible, and this thing. And when you get older, you understand you do not say anything bad ever about a friend's spouse or boyfriend, because talk about Stockholm syndrome, that friend will turn on you.
Correct.
So what do you do in this case? Can those people be educated? Is it your job to educate them? I always say, they are your teacher. You are not their teacher. I'm going to say it again. They are your teacher. You are not their teacher. So the lesson is,
what are they teaching us?
What are they teaching you? Don't close your mind or your consciousness with this picture postcard of what you want life to be. Accept life on life's terms and work with it. Because, we know what they're doing. Right. They're trying to turn the clock back to Make America Great. Well, good luck with the time machine. I don't think it's ever quite happened before.
And it never will.
It never will.
And here's the thing. I do agree with you. And I think that anything or anybody close enough to you is worthy of a conversation about it. Doesn't mean that you're going to be able to convince or win, but at least be heard and let them be heard. And you can agree to disagree. I have never, ever fought to the point where I don't want to talk to people the way I have over this election. And I've never unfriended people. Like, unfriending people is a big move. Yeah. I've actually unfriended people, and I'll say it. I posted it. You've seen it. And I'll say it again. Yeah. It's not because you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat. I was raised in a Republican family, household, blah, blah, blah. The point is, you're voting for him. And it became about him, not a party. There's
That's
always
right.
going to be
That is
party
what it
lines.
became about.
Right.
That's what it became about.
And it became about
Yeah.
how could I have anything fundamentally
Yeah.
in common with you? Because I can't,
Yeah.
if you can possibly vote this into office, you and I do not see eye to eye about
Right.
anything anymore.
Yeah.
And people were coming for me saying, well, that's really closed-minded for somebody who's really open-minded. You should accept people. I am accepting you, but I'm telling you, this makes no sense to me, to the point where if you're going to say, why did you vote whoever, some serial killer, now I'm not saying he is,
Yeah.
into office, I couldn't wrap my head around
Right.
it. This is the same way I can't normally I could sit back and go, okay, this person does that, I get it. I can't find one thing to justify. So I just unfriended and said, I'm okay with never talking to you again. Is that closed-minded? Or is that just passionate?
I
Or
don't
what?
think so, because I think a lot of that social media stuff just eats up our brains.
Well,
Yeah.
that too.
And
Yeah.
so I don't think it's so bad to just have a minute of like a breath. I think that like a breath right now, the country needs a little breath.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
got an email there. We're going to take a quick break, and I want to hear this email that
Yeah.
Melora Hardin got. We'll be right back after this. Hey, Michelle, let's talk about Casper mattresses.
You got my ear.
Now, earlier today, we were talking with a friend of ours who also got a Casper mattress.
Yes.
And
He got two.
he loves it.
Yeah.
Loved it. You still love yours.
Honey, let me tell you something. I travel a lot. Always out on the road. I was texting you the other day from a hotel experience.
I remember.
Honey, there is nothing like coming home to my Casper mattress. Yes, it helps that my sexy hubby's in it too. But I have to tell you, the feel of that mattress when you lay on it, because I don't like a soft, squishy mattress. I like it kind of firm, but not hard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the best thing in the world because it's the combination. It's the hybrid mattress. It has the latex foam and memory foam. So it's the right amount of sink and the right amount of firm. It is extra amazing comfortable.
Well, it's a great company. They're also turning the mattress industry upside down because people are used to paying these notoriously high marked up prices. They changed the business model to, it gets sent straight to your home. You don't have to go to a department store. There's not this huge middleman that actually jacks up the price.
Yeah, and it comes to your house in a box. All you got to do is bring that box into your room, open the box, and boom, goes right on the bed. And they're so confident, as I am, and I'm telling you this from experience, it's not BS, in the quality of their mattresses that they have a risk-free trial and return policy. So you can try sleeping on it for 100 days, Rip Van Winkle, go on. Free delivery, painless returns. It's a 100% risk-free thing here. So what are you waiting for? Just go ahead and do it. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life.
It really will. And you can get $50 toward any mattress purchase right now by visiting Casper.com/Rue and use that offer code, honey. It's just RU. Terms and conditions may apply. That's Casper.com/RU. Get started today. All right, we are back from our little break. We're very heated up in here.
Oh, girl, need to calm down. Talk about losing friends and family members.
I'm trying to talk about Murder, She Wrote, but Melora's got an email here from someone. Someone wrote you.
I got a Monk too. Monk too. How can we talk about Monk? Oh my God.
You guys
Love Monk.
All right, we can talk about Monk and Murder, She Wrote. We don't have to do this.
No, I want to hear it. We want to hear it.
Can you truncate
nutshell
it? Not truncate it.
Yeah.
Truncate it.
Truncate it.
With a K, please.
Well, you know what? I mean, okay, I'm going to truncate it. So what I did was I was feeling pretty impotent, and I thought, what can I do with this person that I have to work with side by side on this movie that I'm doing? And so I decided to write an email, and I wrote.
Did the
But you
person
haven't
vote
sent
for Trump?
Well, he's a Trump supporter.
Oh, okay.
But
you have not sent
and
this.
I'm not, and I have not sent it yet.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't, by the way.
I think I'm going to.
You.
I think
She's got balls. I
think
knew
I'm
I
going
loved you
to.
for a reason.
But you see why I'm
Okay.
sending
Okay.
it. So I felt it was uncomfortable and tense on set in the wake of this election, and knowing that you voted for Trump. Since you are part of the minority here in California, you may be feeling this a lot at this time, especially in our business. Personally, I'm really grieving and I'm struggling with the president-elect, and at the same time, I know you're celebrating. I don't want to shut you out or judge you, because one of the things I love most about America is our freedom of speech and diversity of opinion, religion, sexual identification, and diversity. However, it is undeniable that we are a very divided country right now, and a country divided is a weak and vulnerable country. I know that America's enemies out there see this and will feed on that vulnerability. So I am determined to do whatever I can to help us stay together despite our gigantic differences and bridge that divide in my own community. I can only start with those I know. I know you are a good man, and I know that a lot of what is being said and done in Trump's honor is not who you are. I found this and wanted to share it with you in hopes that the many good people out there who voted for Trump can help affect positive change during his administration that addresses our human rights and decency just as much as the politics you align with. Thank you in advance if you do feel inclined to have your voice heard on this subject, and please pass it on to your other friends who voted for Trump and who expect more from him and his supporters. All my best, Melora. And basically, this was this woman, Jessica Shortall. She wrote this. She's a human American LGBT ally, author of Yesterday. What is the author? She wrote a book yesterday. I don't have her title of her book. But anyway, she wrote, I think this came from Facebook. And it's a long post, but I'm going to read it really fast and I'm not going to read the whole thing. But basically it starts out, to my friends who voted for Trump, you say that this is Jessica Shortall, not me.
Yeah.
To my friends who voted for Trump, you say that you voted for Trump for reasons entirely absent from hatred, racism, and misogyny. You are sick of being called a racist, a misanthrope, a sexist, a xenophobe. So let's start with this premise. I believe you when you say that you don't hold any of these things in your heart. I believe when you say that these are things that are not why you voted for him. I believe you. And he and his surrogates do say hateful things and use coded language like certain groups and certain neighborhoods. Some people are hearing those things and are now feeling emboldened to do and say truly hateful and un-American things to minority groups. The stories are pouring in echoes of Brexit as American women have their hijabs ripped from their heads, as women are grabbed and men laugh and say, we can grab you by the pussy now, as brown school children come home in tears because some of their white classmates have told them that they'll have to leave the country, as black people are called in the street by white people who say, God, it feels good to say that in public again. I know that that is not you. Hear me. Say it. Stop thinking that I'm saying it at you when I'm just saying it to you. I believe you, and so please believe me. Your knee-jerk reaction is going to be to shout, those bad apples don't represent me, so don't lay their horrible behavior at my feet. How many ways can I say this? I believe you, and this is still a real phenomenon. You and those apples supported and support the same man, even if for vastly different reasons. And those bad apples feel really, really good right now. The KKK is holding a celebratory parade. Those awful people who I rush to say again and again are not you feel vindicated and empowered by this election result. So here's where I stand. You voted for him, so I believe you have the responsibility to hold him to a truly American standard. I'm not asking you to reject the president-elect. I'm not asking you to apologize for your vote. I'm not telling you you're not allowed to feel vindicated for your feelings or being ignored and left out and lied to. I'm not telling you what your stance on immigration or refugees or Black Lives Matter should be. Here's what I am saying. You've said all along that you disagree with the inelegant things Trump says about all kinds of groups of people. You've agreed that his statements about women are abhorrent. You say you like him because he gets stuff done, not because of the way he speaks. And I believe to my core that you agree that all people should be treated with decency. So now you get to prove it. It's actually so simple. Demand that it end. Demand that he finally vociferously reject the KKK and other white supremacist groups every single time he and his surrogate says something overgeneralized about any group of people. All black people live in inner cities and their lives are hell. Many refugees, immigrants, Muslims, whatever, are dangerous. That woman is only a 7. Hold him to the highest standard you have. Contact him. Tell him, I support you. I voted for you. And I demand that you stop saying these things. Now is a real chance to prove everyone wrong. It is also a real chance to actually protect some fellow Americans and fellow humans from harm. How? You, a good-hearted, well-intentioned, America-loving person, can publicly and loudly demand that the president-elect and all of his surrogates and appointees denounce all hate groups who are celebrating this win as a win for their agenda. You can demand publicly, not just on Facebook feed or just to your friends, that the president-elect make a public statement disavowing and condemning every single act of violence, intimidation, bigotry, misogyny, and hatred that is being done in his name and in the name of his movement. He should just say it. This is disgusting, it's un-American, and I will not allow it to be done in my name or in celebration of my presidency. You are the only ones who can do this.
Amen.
Yeah.
Now let's get it.
Wow.
Let's get it.
Right?
Let's get it.
That's what people need to do.
And it's true, Melora, because like I said, we were out there and I was in Greece and Italy, and we are a joke to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not exaggerating because like you said at the beginning of this diatribe, It is what it is. And I implore everybody, especially in our community, to unite in love and light and do what we can to educate people and move this forward momentum in a positive, uplifting way, because it is what it is. And fighting hate with hate is not the way we're going to get through this.
I've thought of that
Well,
myself.
they'll win. They'll win, by the way, because they're bigger bullies
Exactly.
than we are. They'll
That's
win.
right. Yeah. And I've had thoughts of retaliation myself.
Of
Mr.
course.
Everybody
Of
say
course.
love.
No.
I've been thinking, you know what? I'm gonna unsubscribe to the New York Times.
Yep.
I'm gonna disconnect my cable.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Check out and become a survivalist.
Your heart has
Exactly.
been wounded. That's
My
why
heart is
your
wounded.
very
Yeah.
soul
Yeah.
has been
Yeah.
darkened
But
and
I got to
blackened.
tell you, I went to in San Francisco this weekend. My friend from high school throws the
Your dance, your hip hop
yes,
weekend?
the SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest in San
How
Francisco.
was
It was
it?
fabulous.
Yeah.
This one group of kids from Vietnam did a piece that, and by the way, it's not just hip hop. It's I don't know why they call it the hip hop thing, because it's more urban, But these Vietnamese kids did this piece where they had this speech over this music. I don't know who the person talking was, but he was saying, you are a fighter. Don't, all these inspirational things. It made me start welling up crying. Yeah. And a lot of that anger that I had melted away. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to pick myself up.
Yes,
I'm going to keep doing what I do because I believe in love.
Yes.
That's who I am.
Don't forget it.
Don't forget
Because
it.
it's easy to. It's
Easy.
a real black cloud
It
over
really
us
is.
right now,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to fight harder than we've ever fought for our children, for the future, for the people who can't
For
fight,
women.
for women,
Yeah.
for the
For
people
blacks,
with no
for
voices, for
LGBTQ.
everybody of
Yeah,
every color
everything.
Right.
fighting for what is truly American. And that
That's right.
post is amazing.
Didn't she do an amazing
Amazing.
job? I thought it was a
Amazing.
beautifully
Beautiful.
written.
Let's just hope that the people, which I don't want to be negative, but I have doubt.
Well, that's why I say I'm starting with the people I know.
Great.
Yeah.
I know at least 2 people that I'm going to send that email to.
I think you should
Yeah.
send it. I'm going to go against Rue, and I think you should.
I think I should send it
Yeah, I
because
think
you
you
know
should.
what?
Because it's classy the way you did
But
it.
they can write back and say, F you. That's okay. Or they might write back and say, thank you. I mean, I'm not saying to them, you're a jerk. I'm
Right.
saying to them, look, let's try to come together over this. And I know that both of these people don't agree with the things that she called out in her post.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think you should do it. And before we wrap and let Melora go, please can we talk about Murder
Oh,
She
Murder
Wrote?
She Wrote.
Okay, yeah, okay. First of all, Murder She Wrote. Now,
Murder, She Wrote.
we have 5 minutes. We'll go to a break. You want to do the break now? We'll do the break now, and then we'll come back with
this
some
way
Murder
we can
She
wrap
Wrote.
it up. Oh, come together, America. We're with you. We love you.
Yes, for sure.
Michelle, I absolutely love the concept of the Loot Crate box.
It's so adorable.
so much cute stuff in there.
It really is, especially if you're a big geek or gamer. And I only speak about this because I am that. My husband's that. My brother's that. I grew up in that. And it's really, really great for the gamer items, the pop culture gear. And it's less than $20 a month. You get 6 to 8 items in the box. It's not just here's your T-shirt and you're good to go. If you went to Hot Topic, you'd pay $20 for that T-shirt
Sure.
anyway.
Yeah.
So for less than $20, you get 6 to 8 items in the box, including licensed gear. There's some apparel. I got socks, collectibles, a comic book.
So it's all really cool themed gear that you get monthly.
Yes, you can get it monthly. It's a subscription. There's a T-shirt in every crate. There's all sorts of stuff for your kitchen. Harry Potter, Marvel Comics, Fallout 4, Star Wars, Star Trek, all that stuff. And you get all of it for less than $20
Oh my
a
goodness,
month.
the T-shirt alone would cost more than $20.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Loot Crate's November theme is magic. Get this 100% exclusive crate featuring bewitching items from Doctor Strange, Fantastic Beasts, and Where to Find Them, and Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh
and
my God,
more.
I love that movie.
Big Trouble in Little China?
Yes.
Amazing. And here's the thing. You have until the 19th. So it's the 16th today. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific time to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. So if you don't get in the next 3 days, you're done with that box, but you can still sign up to get the next box. That's
I see.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what the monthly thing is all about. So make sure you head to lootcrate.com/Rue. And if you enter code RU, you can save $3 off of any new subscription today. Gamers, geeks, unite. It's lootcrate.com.
Woohoo! Okay, we are back with Melora Hardin. I'm just
Oh,
dying.
and also I was going to tell you guys that I'm singing at Carnegie Hall.
Oh,
I'm
Carnegie
singing at Carnegie Hall
What?
December 1st. Yes. Talk about healing
Wow.
for Kate Winslet's charity called The Golden Hat, which is for people living with autism. And it's at Carnegie Hall. I am so incredibly excited.
What are you
Where do you
singing?
go for the tickets?
It's-
What's the website?
That's a good question, and I will find that. Can you guys post that on your website?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Because you were on Broadway.
Yes, I was
in Chicago.
And I did Les Mis here at the Hollywood Bowl and played Fantine. And
you
boy,
did.
to sing about God and heaven and be looking up at the stars and the
Oh,
moon
wow.
was
And dreaming dreams.
extraordinary. And dreaming
Yes.
dreams.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Carnegie Hall, December 1st.
Yes, December 1st.
2016.
That's right. It's coming right up.
And what are you singing, darling?
Well, it's a Christmas concert, and so
lovely.
I'm singing some Christmas songs. I'm singing the Christmas Carol, which is chestnuts roasting on.
Uh-huh.
I'm also singing an original song, which was written by Ben Toth, who was my musical director for many, many years, and Nell Benjamin, who wrote all the lyrics for Legally Blonde on Broadway. And it's a beautiful song called Come Home With Me for Christmas, and a little bit cheeky and fun. And then I'm also singing the Coventry Carol, which a lot of people are not familiar with, but if you heard it, you probably would know it, and it's going to be with a full choir.
Wow.
It's
What are you wearing, more
beautiful.
importantly?
And that is a great question.
Yeah.
I need to, because I've been so distracted by all this other stuff, I need to find out what I'm wearing.
CarnegieHall.org.
I don't know.
Yeah, you
for
have to say
tickets.
it. Carnegie
Hall.org is where we get tickets. I got it.
Oh, thank you.
CarnegieHall.org.
Okay, that's where you get tickets. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now, Murder, She Wrote. Now, what year did you do Murder, She Wrote?
God. I mean,
I think it was like 93.
Can you look that up on the web too?
I think it was 93.
Okay,
I think it was 93.
That
And it was
sounds
an
about right.
episode called Roadkill.
Gosh, I can't believe you remember
Well, I
that.
watch it every night.
This one's a Wikipedia.
No, I do. I watch it every night
night.
because I love it so much. Now, what I want to know is when you had scenes with the great Angela Lansbury, did she have her stand in there for you, or did she actually stand in for herself?
She was there with me.
Really?
We did all our scenes together. She was so, I've worked with her and I've worked with Dick Van Dyke.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say those are the two of the biggest legends that I've worked with. And boy, both just incredibly classy. Talk about America great.
Yeah.
There's two American greats.
Yeah.
Well,
and what?
Angela's British, isn't she?
Oh,
But
she
yeah,
is.
but she's
is.
been
Okay,
here
you're
since
right.
she
But
was
Dick Van
16.
Dyke, you don't
All
get
right,
better
you're right.
than
you
Dick
don't,
Van
You
Dyke.
don't. But I just mean like what we've enjoyed. Maybe
Yes.
we've just enjoyed in America
Heck
so much.
yes.
Yeah.
And the kind of class, the kind of kindness. I mean,
And
Dick
elegance,
Van Dyke,
yes.
Diagnosis Murder is what I worked with him on.
Yeah.
And every single day of his life, he has to be asked about Mary Poppins.
Uh-huh.
And
true.
every single
it now.
day. And he just elegantly, every time, he's not irritated, he's not frustrated. He just says, it was just glorious in all ways. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah.
It's like when you get the big rock stars that they have to play their hits,
Yeah,
and they're just
Stairway
like
to
all
Heaven.
pissy, and they're
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to play that song, and I don't
Yeah.
care if you paid $150 for your ticket.
Yeah.
I'm doing it at the end in
Yeah.
the 7th hour if you stick
Yeah.
around, right? But
Yeah.
like they just are like, yes, well, oh yes, and yes, and yes, and yes,
Yes.
and I did meet Julie Andrews too, and again another elegant, kind, decent. Manners.
Yeah.
Manners, America. I
Yeah.
am all for manners.
Yes.
Teach your children table manners and all the other manners. And yes, anyway.
Well, that's again, that's what we were talking about, and you're right. Angela Lansbury is such a generous, elegant.
Yes.
She understands who she is and what she has to offer.
And that's right.
In fact, even playing characters that were 10 years older than her when she was, she's an actor. That's what she's here to do.
Right.
Now, you've been in this business for a long time.
Since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
How have you managed that? And you've seen people come and go and come and go again.
Yes.
What do you think? Is there a secret to sustaining a career this long?
Well, I will say part of it is, being focused on the work, focused on the craft, not focused on the fame, walking through every door elegantly and, hoping that it leads to more, well, it does lead to more doors being open, and the doors that don't open, then don't keep slamming your head against the wall. I mean, if the door's not opening, then find where the doors are opening.
Yes,
Big
ma'am.
lesson right there.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I think that's part of it. The doors kept opening for me. If they didn't, I wouldn't be here right now. I would be doing something else. I mean, I would not have wasted my time and my energy, because clearly my destiny would have been to go down a different road where the door would have opened. So that's one thing. It's clear that my destiny was meant to do this. It wasn't like I had to slam my head against the wall. So doors did open. I walked through them. And I also really think, even in context of what we've been talking about here politically, I move myself forward as a human being. I never stopped trying to grow and learn, and I've been uber curious about my craft and about who I am as a human being. And I really believe that that makes it so that you can have a future. If you stop and just stay stuck, you can't grow yourself. You can't grow your characters. You can't grow into where that next door is going to open because you're standing looking at, well, this door opened and I'm going to now align with that and I'm never going to leave. I'm going to just stay grounded in this spot and like put my feet, dig my heels in.
Yeah.
So evolution
I think
as
that's
a human
big part of it.
goes
Evolution
hand
as
in
a
hand
human.
with evolution as an actor.
It really does. I
Were your
believe that
parents in the
very
business?
deeply. Yes, both my parents.
Did
were
you learn that from them?
both actors. Yes, I mean, yes, definitely. Yes, I think so. I mean, they're both really, really, really artists. So I think what I learned from them was really just this incredible reverence for what it is to be a craftswoman, to really understand and get inside my craft and honor it and, massage it and, really revel in what craft is. Because, even as a working actor for so many years, you find stuff all the time in every new job. There's something you learn. From good directors, bad directors, great directors, mediocre directors, from great actors and so forth. You learn from every experience, good, bad, or, and you can either turn your back on the things that aren't so good, or you can use those as again, breakthroughs. The breakdowns can be breakthroughs. And
Absolutely.
So,
what makes a good director? This is my question, but what makes a good director versus a really bad director?
Well, first of all, someone who's confident and who's really looking at the large picture, because that's their job, is to really guide the arc of the piece.
Can you tell when you're in
the arc of each character and the arc of the piece, and that someone that isn't always got their finger in everyone's stew. You want a director and a producer who hires people that they really think are amazing at what they do, and then point them in the direction. It's the velvet hand, the iron fist, the velvet glove. It's that. It's really like point you in the right direction, turn you a little to the right, and then let you go.
Yeah.
It's a soft touch on the steering wheel. I cannot stand working with people who are just like, they're just so insecure, taking credit for your ideas or coming in and telling you. And but then there's also stuff you learn. Like I directed a movie called You a few years ago, and I had a really amazing. It was a real family adventure. My parents were in it, and my husband wrote it, and my husband and I directed it, and he stars in it, and I'm in it, and our kids are in it, and good friends are in it. So it was a real family adventure of love, but in that time, I really did realize I wish I could do everybody's job at least once, because that's when you really realize, wow, you have to do some things you have to do some things that you didn't ever think you would do.
Yeah.
There was a moment in time when my husband had to come running around a corner in a full-fledged run in slow motion, and I was way down a hallway, and he had to be and he had about a foot to get started. So he had a foot around the corner to get started. That's just where the wall was.
Yeah.
And he had to look like he was in a full run, and he was just losing his mind. He's like, I can't, how am I going to do it? And we were about to lose the location. I was like, and I literally said the words I would never want a director to say to me, honey, just do it.
I don't care how.
Just do it. And I was like, trust me, I promise. From my perspective, it's looking good.
Yeah.
So if we could all be everybody, if we could all do all those things, if we could all run for president, we might find out some pretty interesting things.
Well, it's called empathy. It's called compassion. Now, you mentioned that your parents were in the business, and they instilled in you not only this work ethic, but sort of a life ethic. How do you do that with your own children? Because from where I stand, I don't have kids, but where I stand, it seems like a crapshoot. Like
it is.
What you get, who comes out of the people who come out of your body, or you come into your life, the children. You don't know who these people are, and you don't know how they're going to learn what you learn. You were able to get that from your parents. How are you able to instill that in your daughters?
I think it's so much of why I'm a good actor or why I'm a good artist is that I have really great powers of observation that I think really came to me as a baby. My mom said I would go into anyone's arms, but I wouldn't smile. I would stare. And she said I would just look at every part of them, their hair, their eyes, their mouth, what they were wearing. And this is me as a really little tiny baby, right? So I feel like that was just a gift I got. I was just given. I landed on this earth with that. So I feel like I'm curious about my children. I'm curious about where they're going, and I'm
How old are they?
observing them, 11 and 15. So I feel like I think curiosity is a huge key word, and I think that if we could employ that in the world a little more, because if you're curious, then you're not in judgment.
Right.
And and also my children go to a Waldorf school, and one of the things that they say about Waldorf education, which I love, is that when they're from like 1 to 7, you're the general. So it's you're basically spending all this time going, put your shoes on, we're leaving now, get in the car, put your seatbelt on, we're driving, eat your breakfast, right? You're the general. But then when they're like 7 to 14, you're the gardener. So you're planting seeds for them all the time. You're kind of tossing little seeds out. You're kind of saying, well, if you put this in the ground and you put some water on it and some sunlight, watch what happens. And we can do that. Oh, and let's put another seed in. Why don't we do that? Well, then from 14 to 21, you're the guide. So you're not. And I think that when a lot of people say to me like, oh, how is it with your 15-year-old daughter? It must be horrible. And I'm like, well, no, because I'm here to guide her now. I'm not the general anymore. I'm not even the gardener right now. I'm the guide. And so she's supposed to be having her own thoughts. She's supposed to be having her own ideas. She's supposed to be responsible and show up, and and if she doesn't get those I can't think of the word.
Those lessons.
She doesn't get those
rewards?
benefits, not the rewards, but you don't get to go to a concert if you can't call at the right time and come home at the right time. Yeah. Like I'm really very much like that, but I'm also very much like, sure, give it a try. And if you're disrespectful to me, it's like, honey, I don't talk to you that way, so don't talk to me that way. If you need to go take a minute, and we can talk about this when you're feeling a little more connected. But I don't want to talk to you like this right now.
And does it work?
So it's curious. Oh, yeah, it does.
That's great.
But we've been doing it all of our lives.
You want my 16-year-old daughter?
Yeah, sure.
Give her back when you're done.
I'll
Be
take
great.
her. Yeah, exactly. I think it's just we all get triggered. We all get triggered by things. And we as the adult, we have to be disciplined about ourselves. Because if we're not disciplined about where we get triggered, then we're just railing around being triggered all the time. Yeah. But we all know what it feels like when we're not triggered. We know what it feels like when we're in the zone, like what everyone calls the zone. You can just call them out. And if you look at the places in your life where you are in the zone, those are the places where you're very successful.
True.
It's the places where you're triggered and you got like a million voices in your head and chatter and that's where your life is falling apart and where you're having struggles and challenges. And so really for me, like my main parenting wish and issue for myself and what I really try to give myself and challenge myself with is if I'm triggered, I walk away. Right. Now, a lot of people are single parents. I'm so grateful that I have my husband and I can go, honey, please give me a minute. But even for single parents, if they just set up the rule, like they can just say to their kids, I'm triggered. I'm going to take a walk around the block. I'll be back. Or if they're really, really little, like I'm going to the bathroom. I need to close the door and I need to go to the bathroom. I'll be out in 5 minutes, or whatever. Like true. We need to do that as adults. Yeah. We have to do that.
No, it's very true. It's funny. I'm watching the show Westworld, which I absolutely love. And, the one of the things they do when they take the robots into the lab is they say analysis, and they immediately shut down. All the personality's gone, and they're just a shell. They're sort of they're a computer, right? Yeah. And I do that with my morning meditation now, where I'll get in position, I'll go
unplug,
I'll go analysis, and all of a sudden,
I love it.
I'm observing myself.
So affected positively by pop culture. I love it.
Yeah, well, but it's interesting, those tools to be able to be untriggered and to get into that zone, whatever it takes to find the place where you're not, where there's a balance.
Well, you're just not reacting all the time.
Yes.
Right? You can either be in a reactive state or you can be in a curious state.
Yeah.
and you get then you get all the surprise of every day, of every moment.
But I'm going to
Absolutely.
play the devil's advocate, being a mother of two, a 14-year-old girl and a 16-year-old girl. We are in the thick of that chaos,
the hardest
right?
time, yeah.
And everybody that listens knows that I have 2 years of really bad, deep, dark depression with my oldest. It was just the way she was born, the way she was kind of scheduled, or the way she was made. But a really very smart Zen girlfriend of mine gave me something that was really important, and because she was going kind of through the same thing. And she said that you have to fight with all your might, not to become the teenage you that wants to fight back.
Right.
And every time I want to go there, I think of her now and go,
So
thanks,
true.
Victoria. Because automatically I want to be that 16-year-old girl going, what the fuck are you
Right.
doing?
Yeah,
You're
right.
doing it all wrong. And I have to go, Michelle, you're not 16.
Right.
You can't fight with her on her level.
Yeah.
And then it all makes sense.
Do you find yourself wanting to say to your daughter, I'm going to meet your ass after school.
100%.
I'm going to meet your ass after school.
Hold my books, take my backpack, because we're going at it. Flagpole, 3:00. 100%. And it's true.
I just saw a tough side of RuPaul
It's
come out
there.
too.
It's there, honey. Don't let the San Diego come
Look
out.
at you. You're like getting into street fights and
Come on,
stuff.
Chula Vista.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Again, it's having that balance and
Yes.
having,
Yeah.
being able to bring yourself back to the zone. Well, Melora Hardin, thank you so much for joining us. We had a great time.
You guys are awesome.
It was
And
fun.
I mean, I do think too that the triggered thing, right? And the Zen thing that your friend said, it's we all just have to keep on keeping on like that.
Yeah.
In all of this, in
Yeah.
politics and everything else.
Absolutely.
Politics, parenting, and so forth.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a gift, and you have to be aware of that. For A, it's a gift. This is what you talked about with Dick Van Dyke and Angela Lansbury. These are people who are aware of what they have. They have to be of service to
That's
this
right.
universe.
What their gift
know
is.
What their gift is, and not everybody gets a Mary Poppins.
No, that's
Mary
hello.
Poppins.
Hello.
Yeah.
Bye bye birdie.
Oh my goodness!
Bye bye birdie.
Just so much,
I
so
know.
much. And that awareness, I had to learn how to accept compliments from people. My instinct was to sort of make a sarcastic, because somebody say, oh, I love you so much. And years ago, not
Right,
anymore,
sure.
but I'd go, yeah, that and a nickel will get you 3 egg rolls. Or, I do that to deflect.
3 egg rolls.
Yeah, whatever. To deflect. But I had
In
to
what
learn-
universe? Oh,
Yeah.
that was when America was great. Sorry.
Exactly.
But you learn how to accept it, and you look the person in the eye and you say, thank you very much, because you know what that meant to them.
Yeah.
Do you think
well,
that
no, that's the thing.
changes?
It's like taking a compliment graciously. I always say this to my kids because my kids are actors too now, and they're beautiful and wonderful, little talented things. But I say to them, look, even if you don't feel you did your best, they are reflecting back to you that you moved them, that they laughed or they cried and they liked it. And it is very rude and disrespectful to say, oh, well, you have to say, thank you very much. And then you can go in your room and work it out yourself.
Before we go, I want to just talk about that for 1 second.
Uh-huh.
What do you think the negative impact is? I'm terrible at compliments. Terrible. I deflect all the time.
You must
What
not
do
do
you
that because
think?
you're
Can't
so
do that.
pretty. Look at you.
Cannot do
Oh,
that.
you have such
Thank
great.
you.
Look at her. Look at the
See, I'm
structure
not-
of her
she's
face. You have the
beautiful. She's
greatest
gorgeous.
facial bone
She's
structure.
not called
No, you really
Visage
do.
for nothing over
I'm,
here.
I'm watching
Yeah.
you talk, and I'm like, she's really
She is.
amazing, lovely looking woman.
Well,
Yeah.
thank
you really are.
Takes
Yeah.
one to know one.
No,
but
it's true.
what do you think the negative effect of somebody says to you, da-da-da, and you're like, oh God, no, that's
Right.
that'll this old thing, or no,
Right,
honey,
right.
I got to lose 40 pounds, or
Right.
that sucked, but thank you, I could
Right.
do better. What do you think the negative impact is on your soul? Because why do you think I do it? Why do you think you do
Well,
it?
it's because it makes you feel uncomfortable because other people are watching, and you don't want in a Christian, Judeo-Christian background, vanity
Break
is
it down.
looked
Break it down.
upon as a sin. So
Okay.
you don't want to appear as like
stuck up or conceited.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then the other part of that is that you are then responsible for your impact in the world. And a lot of people don't want to be held responsible or accountable for their impact in the world. So those two things are the reason most of us do that.
Or lack of self-worth.
Well, but no, that's all tied into the other things.
Okay.
Yeah, because the truth is you are an extension of God's love on this planet. And we don't say, oh, don't give it to me. Oh, I don't want I don't want that responsibility. But when you're gracious enough to give the gift of accepting
Acceptance,
a gift,
that's right.
Is that's
and
when
receiving. Receiving is
it
the
is
thing.
acknowledging your God self.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people don't want to be while they feel better playing small than they do playing who they really are.
I agree, but do you
That's
think
right.
once these people, not just me, but there's the whole group of people that are that way, do you think once these people accept that, compliments, whatever it is, just like you said it so beautifully, accepting
Graciously.
bigger instead of smaller, keeping
Yes.
themselves in a small thing.
Nelson
instead of the big
Mandela,
thing.
ladies and gentlemen,
Correct.
go Google that.
Do you think then you
Or was that Marianne
Marianne
Williamson?
No, she interpreted his thing.
Okay,
yes.
okay. I wasn't ever clear.
Do you think that opens up doors for a greater self, a greater being, once you take yourself out of the small?
Absolutely. It clears out all that blockage, all that
Yeah.
mishigas
Mishigas.
that's just not, it's just not, doesn't serve you.
And it's not ego either. It's not like, I am the best.
Right.
It's a real gracious, grounded, humble
Gratitude.
act to receive a compliment and to let it sink in.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, well, that is lovely. Thank you.
Yes.
And to say thank you with that kind of passion that they just gave you the compliment with.
Yes.
People don't understand. Like, thank you isn't just like, oh, well, thank you, thanks. We've turned that into thanks.
Yeah.
But like a true thank you, when someone comes up to you and says, oh, I just love your podcast and you guys are so funny and so amazing and you inspire me so much and it's really incredible to be able to go, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I have people come to me all the time. Like, I watch The Office over and over. We were running on. You even said when we came in. And I always just say, that makes me feel so good. That's wonderful.
Well, you have a gift that you give. You
That's
really
a
do.
wonderful thing.
You affect
know?
my 14-year-old daughter adores you, and this is a kid in
I
a different
love that.
generation. Loves Monk is her favorite TV show of all time.
Yeah.
So when I
love
told her I
it.
was talking to her, she's like, "Oh my god!" She was so, and we interview a lot of people. She was very excited. So
love
I
that.
think that what you're saying and what you exude is out there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It affects people.
It is.
So that's a great lesson in itself.
That's
Yeah.
really great.
Well, thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you guys.
us.
What a
Lovely.
joyful day. I was coming here thinking, oh God, I hope I can bring something to this because I'm feeling like a little
Sure.
cloud, as you said earlier. But you guys you lifted the cloud and I feel much better. And
Yay! And we could say,
I hope that everyone enjoyed the
Thank you.
podcast and that we weren't too I wasn't too, because I can get rambly. I can get a little rambly. I think I ranted a little bit for a while.
no, people
but-
are the same way. I think it's necessary therapy.
It absolutely is. And you said lots of beautiful things and helpful things for all of us in this time of just uncertainty. And just remember, you know what? You are strong. Keep at it. Don't be deterred by the dark cloud, because on the other side of the dark cloud, the sun is still shining.
Right,
Can I get an amen in here?
Here's the other thing. In order for there to be great light, by the way, tonight, the best
Yes,
supermoon that
that's
we've
right.
had in, what is it,
Years.
like 60
70
years,
years.
70
70.
years. And so everybody look up at that moon and realize that without that dark black sky, we wouldn't be able to see the supermoon
Yes.
right.
the way we're going to be able to see it tonight.
And pray on it.
So we got to have darkness in order to have
That's
the
right.
big light.
The
So
yin and the
we
yang.
can do this.
Yeah,
We can do this.
That's how it works. All right. Until next
right.
time. Bye.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else?